Previously on Divine Blood.
A Saiyan pod drifted through the void. The Grand Priest caught it and raised the boy as his own, Goku, a mortal carrying divine ki and Saiyan blood, something that was never supposed to exist. He left the divine realm so he could explore. His brother Raditz found him, broke free from Frieza's empire, stood between a tyrant and his little brother, and died a free Saiyan so Goku could live. Goku carried that grief straight into Frieza's empire and found Vegeta, the prince of all Saiyans, Frieza's greatest weapon. They clashed, they argued, but when Vegeta was forced to choose between the Emperor who enslaved him and a Saiyan he'd never met, he chose his blood. Two Saiyans against an empire. And when Frieza tried to kill Vegeta, Goku refused to lose another brother. The dual ki stabilized, the gold held. Goku turned Super Saiyan, and Frieza retreated for the first time in his life. They found the Saiyan Heritage Core, a prophecy. A Saiyan born between mortal and divine blood will either save the universe or destroy it. Now, Caulifla, Jiren, and Broly are coming. No one knows whose side they're on, and beyond the edge of every known universe, a rift is tearing open. Something with no key, no name, no form is crawling through. The prophecy is moving, the rift is widening, and two Saiyans are all that stands in the way. Dragon Ball, Divine Blood, Chapter 4 is here. In Universe 6, on the far edge of traversable space, a stolen freighter drifts toward the impossible. Caulifla sits at the helm, her tail lashing behind her, eyes locked on the shimmering wall of energy that separates one universe from the next, the barrier between Universe 6 and Universe 7. Kale navigates beside her, quiet and anxious, running calculations that all say the same thing. There is no way across. No door, no passage. No mortal has ever breached the universal barrier. Caulifla stares at it and grins. "We need a door," she says. Kale tells her there are no doors between universes. Caulifla's answer is simple. Then we'll make one. She has been chasing a feeling for weeks, a pull in her Saiyan blood that she cannot name and cannot ignore. It says go. It says find. It says there is something on the other side of the universe that she needs to reach, and she will tear reality apart to get there if she has to. She left everything behind to follow it. Her crew, her colony, her world. Universe 6 Saiyans are not conquerors, they are defenders. Their planet was never destroyed, but they are considered a minor species in Universe 6's hierarchy, looked down upon by stronger civilizations. Caulifla's ambition has never been just personal. She wants to prove that Saiyans matter. She wants to be legendary, and only Kale came with her. At the barrier, Caulifla does something reckless. She concentrates every ounce of her ki into a single blazing point at the tip of her fist, and punches the wall between universes. It does not break, but it ripples. The barrier shudders under the impact, and across the dimensional divide, that ripple is felt by someone who has been watching for exactly this kind of disturbance. Vados, the angel attendant of Champa, god of destruction of Universe 6, Whis' sister. She senses the barrier disturbance and traces it instantly to its source. A Saiyan ki signature, raw and brilliant, hammering at the wall between worlds. Vados recognizes opportunity when she sees it. She materializes before Caulifla's freighter, elegant, calm, radiating the infinite composure of an angel. "You want to cross between universes?" she says. "I can help with that." Caulifla is immediately suspicious. "What's the price?" Vados smiles. "I simply want to see what happens when Saiyans from different universes meet. Call it scientific curiosity." The words are deliberate. She is echoing the very motive Daishinkan used when he first kept Goku. Curiosity about what a mortal could become. But where Daishinkan's curiosity became love, Vados' curiosity serves something colder, something ideological. Vados opens a dimensional corridor, a door between Universe 6 and Universe 7, carved through reality by angelic power. Caulifla stares at it, a tunnel of light punched through the fabric of existence. She does not hesitate. She and Kale step through. The door closes behind them. They are in Universe 7, and they are utterly, completely lost. Meanwhile, in a stretch of open wilderness on a remote planet in Universe 7, Goku trains. He stands in a field with Whis coaching from a nearby hill, working on the thing that has eluded him since the end of Season 3, Super Saiyan sustainability. He reaches for the transformation, and it comes. Gold-silver light erupts around him. His hair lifts. His dual ki systems sing in harmony. 45 seconds, the longest he has ever held it. Then the strain hits. His body shakes. The gold-silver aura flickers, destabilizes, and collapses. Goku drops to his knees, breathing hard. 45 seconds, up from 12, still nowhere near combat viability. Whis identifies the bottleneck with angelic precision. Goku's body is strong enough. His ki systems are harmonized enough. The problem is psychological. Super Saiyan requires emotional completeness, the unification of grief, will, purpose, and love. Goku can reach that feeling. He can touch it, hold it, burn in it, but he cannot sustain it. He keeps unconsciously retreating to angelic calm. the serene stillness that Daishinkan trained into him since infancy. And every time he retreats, the Saiyan fire destabilizes. He has too much emotional range and not enough emotional endurance. You need to learn to burn without consuming yourself, Whis tells him. That is a skill no angel can teach you. Not far away, Vegeta trains alone. His sessions are brutal, punishing exercises that push his body past its breaking point, heal, and push again. He is trying to find the emotional trigger for Super Saiyan and failing. Every attempt ends the same way. A surge of power, a flicker of something almost golden, and then nothing. The transformation slips away like water through clenched fists. Vegeta's problem is the opposite of Goku's. Where Goku has too much emotion and cannot stabilize it, Vegeta has suppressed his emotions for so long, decades under Frieza's control, years of forced obedience, that he cannot access them fully enough to trigger the transformation. He has locked himself out of his own heart, and every failed attempt makes the frustration worse, which creates a vicious paradox. The anger at failing is not the same as the emotional completeness needed to succeed. Vegeta is learning, painfully, that he cannot brute force his way to a spiritual breakthrough. Then Goku feels it. Mid-training, his entire body goes rigid. His tail straightens like an antenna catching a signal. A Saiyan key signature has entered Universe 7, not Broly. That presence is different, heavier, farther away. A slow-moving mountain crossing the void between stars. This signature is lighter, fiercer, hotter, like a wildfire that just ignited on the other side of the continent. Whis, Goku says, his voice tight with something he cannot identify. Someone just crossed into this universe. A Saiyan, from somewhere else. Vegeta feels it too. His reaction is colder, more guarded, his tail tightening against his waist. Another one? He says. How many of us are there? The resonance hits all three Saiyans simultaneously. Goku, Vegeta, and across the continent, Caulifla. She stands on a ridge in a world she has never seen, and she feels it too. A key signature that is Saiyan and something more. Something impossible. Something golden. Her grin spreads like a blade. There you are. And in Universe 6, after the corridor has closed, Vados contacts Zarbon through a secure channel. Frieza's intelligence officer receives her transmission with barely concealed nervousness. Your master's Saiyan problem just became more complicated, Vados tells him. I've introduced a variable, a Universe 6 Saiyan with extraordinary potential and zero patience. She'll find the anomaly within days. Watch what happens. Zarbon asks why she would help the Saiyans find each other. Vados' answer is serene and terrifying. Because my father built a cage of order around this multiverse, and the only way to break a cage is to fill it with too much life for the bars to hold. Her eyes gleam in the darkness. She is not working for Frieza. She is playing a game so vast that Frieza is merely one piece on the board. On opposite ends of a continent, two Saiyans face each other's direction. Goku stands on a hilltop, his aura rippling silver red with golden threads, his tail swaying in a slow rhythm he does not consciously control. He does not know who is coming. He does not know what she looks like, but his blood knows something his mind has not caught up to. This meeting will change everything. Across the distance, Caulifla stands on a ridge, her aura blazing raw and untrained and magnificent. She has never felt anything like this, a key that calls to her Saiyan instincts in a language she has never learned but already speaks. What are you? She whispers. The space between them is shrinking by the second. Caulifla does not wait. She has been tracking Goku's ki for hours, and she is done with patience. She crashes through the tree line at full speed, fires a ki blast directly at Goku's face. Not to kill, but to test. And Goku catches it reflexively, redirecting the blast into the sky with angelic precision. They lock eyes. Two Saiyans, one heartbeat of pure recognition. Then Caulifla grins. You're the golden one. You don't look like much. Goku blinks. You just shot me in the face. Caulifla shrugs. Standard Saiyan greeting. Goku stares at her. That is absolutely not a standard Saiyan greeting. Caulifla is unapologetic. It is where I'm from. The Goku-Caulifla dynamic detonates from the first exchange. She is everything the Angelic Palace was not. Loud, physical, confrontational, alive. She does not treat Goku with the deference of someone meeting a divine-trained warrior. She treats him like a rival, an equal, a challenge. And Goku, for the first time since meeting Raditz, feels his Saiyan blood respond to someone not with grief or solemnity, but with sheer excitement. They spar. It is the most kinetic fight of the series so far, not because of raw power, since Caulifla is objectively weaker than Goku in base, but because of energy. Caulifla fights with an improvisational genius that bypasses formal technique entirely. She reads openings, changes tactics mid-strike, uses the environment, her tail, even her personality as weapons. She is the anti-angelic fighter. Where Goku calculates, she improvises. Where Goku reads geometry, she reads attitude, and she can tell instantly when Goku is holding back. "Stop pulling your punches," she shouts. "If you're going to fight me, fight me." Goku, caught off guard by the sheer force of her personality, lets loose for a genuine exchange at real speed. A clean hit sends Caulifla through 3 boulders. She gets up laughing, blood on her lip, eyes blazing with delight. "That's more like it." Goku stares at her. Something in his chest does something it has never done before. He does not have a word for it yet. His tail uncurls and sways in a slow, rhythmic motion, a pattern that, if Raditz were alive, he would recognize immediately. The Saiyan response to a compatible presence. Not romantic, not yet. Recognition. Vegeta arrives and the dynamic shifts. He recognizes Caulifla as a Universe 6 Saiyan immediately. The key wavelength is subtly different, the biology slightly altered. He is dismissive. A Universe 6 runt. They're not real Saiyans. They never fought for survival. Caulifla's response is to attack Vegeta without warning. The exchange is brief and brutal. Vegeta overpowers her quickly, but she lands one clean hit to his jaw that makes his eyes widen with involuntary surprise. "Not real enough for you, Prince?" she spits. Vegeta says nothing, but behind his mask of disdain, he is reassessing. Kale watches from the edges, anxious and protective of Caulifla. Quiet, shy, carrying a suppressed power that none of them have noticed yet, the sleeper variable of the entire season. The core conflict between these Saiyans is cultural. Caulifla represents a completely different Saiyan experience. Universe 6 Saiyans were not enslaved. They were not exterminated. They were not defined by Frieza's shadow. Caulifla has Saiyan pride without Saiyan trauma. This both fascinates and frustrates Goku and Vegeta, who have built their identities around the destruction of their race. Caulifla does not carry that weight. She does not understand their grief, and she does not think she needs to. "Your universe killed your Saiyans," she says bluntly. "Mine didn't. I'm not going to apologize for surviving differently." It is harsh, insensitive, and completely honest, and it forces Goku to confront something he has never considered. Is Saiyan identity defined by trauma, or can it be defined by something else? During their sparring, Goku involuntarily flickers into Proto-Super Saiyan for 2 blazing seconds. Not a controlled attempt, but an emotional response to Caulifla's Saiyan energy. His aura goes gold-silver, and Caulifla feels it wash over her like a wave of heat. She stops mid-strike. Her eyes go huge. "That? What was that?" Goku drops the flicker, exhausted. It's complicated. Caulifla grabs his gi. Her eyes are inches from his. Fierce, hungry. Not for him, for the power. "You turned gold. Your ki changed into something I've never felt. It was Saiyan, but it was more than Saiyan. I crossed a universe for this. Show me." This is Caulifla's defining characteristic laid bare. She does not want romance. She does not want protection. She wants to understand and surpass. She is a warrior first, everything else second. And that hunger is the most Saiyan thing Goku has ever encountered. That evening, the group camps together. 4 Saiyans, Goku, Vegeta, Caulifla, Kale, and 1 angel. The most Saiyans gathered in one place since Planet Vegeta fell. Caulifla sits apart from the group, staring at the stars of an unfamiliar universe. Goku approaches. "Why did you come here?" he asks. Caulifla is quiet for a moment, unusual for her. Then she answers, "Because I felt something, in my blood. Like a song I'd never heard but already knew the words to." She looks at him. The fierce mask drops for one unguarded second, and beneath it is something raw, something lonely. "I thought I was the strongest Saiyan alive. I thought that was enough. Then I felt you turn gold and realized I didn't even know what strong meant." She looks away quickly, the mask snapping back into place. "Don't let that go to your head." Goku sits beside her. "I'll show you," Goku says quietly. "The gold, when I can hold it long enough. I'll show you everything." Across the camp, Whis observes the group with his usual detached amusement, until his expression freezes. A key signature brushes against his senses. Faint, masked, but unmistakable. He knows it better than his own, his sister. Vados was here, recently. The dimensional corridor that Caulifla used to cross universes, it is saturated with Vados's energy signature. Every molecule of it screams her name. Whis' playful demeanor vanishes completely. His face becomes ice. "What have you done, sister?" he whispers into the dark. Whis stands at the residual energy signature of the dimensional corridor the next morning, scanning it with the full depth of angelic perception. The analysis is unambiguous. Vados opened this door, deliberately, recently, without authorization from Daishinkan or any cosmic authority. This is a direct violation of the angel neutrality doctrine, the foundational covenant that has governed angelic behavior since the multiverse's creation. Whis' hand trembles on his staff, not from fear, from anger. An angel, truly angry. It is a terrifying thing. He contacts Daishinkan through a private communication channel. The conversation that follows is the most tense exchange between angels the series has produced. Whis reports the unauthorized dimensional breach. Daishinkan is silent for a long, terrible moment. Then he speaks. I am aware of your sister's activities. Whis' composure cracks. You knew? Daishinkan's response is measured but heavy. I suspected. Vados has expressed ideological disagreements with the cosmic structure for some time. I believed they were philosophical exercises. It appears they have become operational. Whis presses harder. Father, she's breached the barrier between universes. She's introduced a variable into Goku's environment without consent. And if she's done this, what else has she done? Daishinkan reveals, partially, that Vados has been in contact with mortal powers. He does not name Frieza. He does not reveal the full scope, but he makes clear that the angel neutrality doctrine is under genuine threat for the first time in cosmic history. Whis asks the only question that matters. What do we do? Daishinkan answers, you protect Goku. I will manage your sister. But Whis cannot let it go. And if she's right, he says, if the hierarchy is stagnation, if mortals and gods were meant to, Daishinkan cuts him off, sharp and authoritative. She is not right. She is impatient. There is a difference between evolution and revolution, and your sister has chosen the wrong one. It is the most authoritarian Daishinkan has sounded since the series began, and Whis hears something beneath his father's certainty that he has never heard before. Doubt. Daishinkan is not certain Vados is wrong about the problem. He is certain she is wrong about the method, and that distinction, that hairline crack between diagnosing the illness and choosing the wrong cure, is the fracture through which the entire divine order might shatter. While the angelic crisis unfolds, Caulifla trains alongside Goku and Vegeta on the planet's surface. The dynamic is explosive. Caulifla is a fast learner, absurdly fast. She picks up techniques after seeing them performed once, adapts them, and improves them with instinctive modifications that no formal training would produce. Goku demonstrates a basic celestial movement exercise, a technique rooted in angelic spatial awareness, and Caulifla butchers the underlying theory completely. But in butchering it, she accidentally invents a variant that uses emotional ki pulses as spatial anchors. It is crude, it is volatile, and it is genuinely innovative. Goku is impressed. Whis, when he returns from his investigation, is fascinated. She's doing something I've never seen, he murmurs. She's using emotion as a navigational tool. It's the opposite of angelic movement, but it achieves similar results through a completely different mechanism. Vegeta watches Caulifla's rapid improvement with mounting frustration. She is raw, untrained, and she is closing the gap faster than should be possible. It reminds him of Goku, that same effortless talent that makes his own grinding, painful progress feel inadequate. But unlike Goku, whose divine training Vegeta can rationalize as an unfair advantage, Caulifla has no advantages at all. She is a Universe VI street fighter with no formal education, no angelic mentorship, no cosmic backing, and she is keeping up. This hits Vegeta where he lives. If raw talent without suffering can match disciplined pain, then what was all his suffering for? Vegeta and Caulifla clash, not in a spar, but in an argument that cuts both of them to the bone. Caulifla dismisses his royal title outright. Prince of what? She says. A dead planet? A scattered race? You're a prince of nothing, Vegeta. Vegeta's response is volcanic. I am the heir to a civilization that conquered galaxies. Every Saiyan who ever lived fought under my family's crest. You're a backwater brawler from a universe where Saiyans are footnotes. Caulifla does not flinch. At least my Saiyans are alive, she says. How many of yours are left? 3? 4? Some prince. The silence that follows is nuclear. Vegeta turns and walks away. But the blow has landed, and it landed because it is true. His crown is ash. His kingdom is a memory. And a girl from another universe just said out loud what he has been avoiding his entire life. Away from the camp, unnoticed by the others, Kale wanders off alone. She finds a quiet clearing to train in private, away from the brilliance and intensity that makes her feel invisible. She begins simple exercises, and something happens. Her ki, normally gentle and restrained, surges without warning. Green, dark, heavy, enormous. A power completely disproportionate to her apparent level. Something buried deep inside her, something Caulifla does not know about, something Kale herself does not understand. It erupts for 5 terrifying seconds, cracks the ground in a 40-meter radius around her, and vanishes as suddenly as it appeared. Kale collapses, shaking, terrified of herself. She tells no one. But from orbit, Whis detected the eruption. His eyebrow rises higher than it has all season. Now that is interesting, he says softly. That night, Goku finds Vegeta standing alone at the edge of the camp, staring at nothing. Goku does not speak immediately. He just stands nearby, a presence without pressure. After a long silence, Vegeta breaks it himself. "She's right," he says. "I'm a prince of nothing." Goku's response is quiet but firm. "You're a prince of us. Me, Raditz, the name's on the wall. Caulifla, whether she admits it or not. We're still here. You're still the prince. That hasn't changed." Vegeta turns the words over like stones in his hand. It doesn't feel like anything. Goku looks at him steadily. "It will. When you stop trying to be the prince your father was, and start being the prince your people need." Something shifts behind Vegeta's eyes. Not softness, never softness, but the faintest, most reluctant consideration that Goku might not be wrong. Vados appears, not through subterfuge or hidden channels, directly. She materializes in the center of the camp in the dead of night, her presence announced by a shift in the air itself. Whis is on his feet instantly, his staff raised, his key signature flaring with cold, angelic fury. The siblings face each other across the dying campfire. The temperature plummets. The air hums with divine tension so thick it is almost visible. Goku, Vegeta, Caulifla, and Kale are awake and frozen, instinctively aware that they are witnessing something that could unmake reality if it goes wrong. Vados smiles at her brother. "Hello, Whis. We need to talk." Two angels face each other, the most powerful siblings in existence. The campfire between them burns in colors that fire should not produce, bending, warping, twisting under the weight of their clashing divine key signatures. Vados does not attack. She talks, and her words are more dangerous than any weapon in the universe. She tells Whis, and by extension, every mortal in the camp, her perspective on reality itself. The multiverse, she says, is a gilded cage. Zeno rules through absolute power, not wisdom. The angels serve, the gods of destruction destroy, the supreme Kais create, and mortals live and die at the mercy of beings who view them as entertainment at best and insects at worst. The hierarchy has existed since the beginning of time, and in all that time, nothing has fundamentally changed. No mortal has ever risen to challenge the divine order. No angel has ever questioned their purpose, until Daishinkan raised Goku. "Our father did the most radical thing in cosmic history," Vados says, her voice carrying the weight of absolute conviction. "He took a mortal and treated him as divine. And what happened? Goku grew. He evolved. He carries two key systems that the universe says cannot coexist, and they do coexist. He is living proof that the barriers between mortal and divine are artificial. They are rules, not laws. And rules can be broken." Whis counters immediately. "Father raised Goku out of curiosity. You're turning it into revolution." Vados' eyes gleam. "I'm turning it into evolution. The next step. Mortals and gods merging. The hierarchy dissolving. Everyone reaching their true potential without artificial ceilings imposed by beings who fear what mortals might become." It sounds reasonable. It sounds almost noble. And that is what makes Vados terrifying. She is not wrong about the problem she identifies. She is catastrophically wrong about the solution. Goku speaks, cutting through the angelic tension. "You opened the door for Caulifla. Why?" Vados turns to him. "Because more Saiyans together means more potential. More potential means more pressure on the divine order. More pressure means change." Caulifla, standing rigid with fury, realizes what this means. "You moved me like a piece on a board," she says. Vados responds with what seems like genuine warmth. "I gave you what you wanted. You wanted to find the Golden Saiyan. I helped. That my motives are larger than yours doesn't make your journey less real." Then Vados makes her offer. Not to Goku, to Vegeta. She addresses him directly, with the precision of someone who has studied her target. "Prince Vegeta, you want power, real power, the kind that makes gods take notice. I can give you that, not through training, through liberation. Your ki has been suppressed since childhood. Frieza's empire conditioned your body to produce less than it could. The psychological trauma you've endured has created energy blocks that limit your output. I can remove them, all of them, in an instant." The offer is a bomb detonating in the center of Vegeta's consciousness. He could achieve power comparable to Super Saiyan in a heartbeat, not through emotional growth, not through the painful, grinding process of unlocking what Frieza's cruelty sealed away, but through angelic intervention. The temptation is enormous. It is everything Vegeta has been desperate for, handed to him on a divine platter. And it would come from an angel who is actively working to undermine the very order that raised Goku. Goku sees the danger immediately. Vegeta, don't. Vegeta rounds on him. Why? Because it's not the right way? Because it's not your way? Goku holds his ground. Because it won't be yours. If she gives it to you, it belongs to her. You'd be trading one master for another. The word hits Vegeta like a physical blow. Master. Owner. The ghost of Frieza's voice echoing through Goku's warning. Vegeta turns to Vados. His jaw works. The silence stretches. Every person in the camp holds their breath. Then the Prince of All Saiyans speaks. I will achieve my power on my terms. Not Frieza's, not yours, and not his. He points at Goku. I don't need an angel's charity. Vados is not surprised. She smiles, genuinely amused, perhaps even respectful. As you wish, Prince. The offer stands. She vanishes, and the camp breathes again. After Vados is gone, Whis stands before the group looking shaken in a way they have never witnessed. He tells them the full truth. She's my sister, Vados, angel attendant to Champa, god of destruction of Universe 6. She's been in contact with Frieza's intelligence network. She wants to tear down the divine hierarchy. He looks at Goku, his expression carrying a weight that even his composure cannot entirely mask. And she's using you as her proof of concept. Everything you are, everything Father raised you to be. She's pointing at it and saying, see, the hierarchy is a lie. She's not wrong about the question. She's catastrophically wrong about the answer. Goku meets his mentor's eyes. What's the difference between her question and Daishinkan's? Whis pauses before answering. Father asked, can a mortal hold divine fire? Vados asks, should every mortal hold divine fire? And should we burn down the universe to make it happen? The distinction is the heart of the entire angelic conflict. Curiosity versus ideology. Experimentation versus revolution. Love versus zealotry. Late that night, Caulifla sits alone, and Goku joins her. She is quiet, which is unusual enough to be alarming. I thought I came here because I wanted to, she says. Because I chose to. Goku asks what she means. But she made the door, Caulifla says, anger and vulnerability warring in her voice. Without her, I'd still be punching the barrier and getting nowhere. Goku considers this. Does it matter how you got here? Caulifla looks at him. The fierce mask drops. It matters that someone moved me without asking. I don't like being moved. Goku understands. Neither do I. But here's what I know. Daishinkan kept me for his own reasons. The angels had their agendas. Frieza had his. Everyone's been moving me my entire life. He holds up his hand. A tiny golden flicker dances across his fingers. Super Saiyan energy. Controlled, minuscule, but entirely his. And this is still mine. No one gave it to me. No one can take it away. Whatever reason brought you here, what you do here is yours. Caulifla watches the golden light play across his skin. Planet shakes. Not an earthquake, an impact. Something has struck the far side of the continent with force that registers on Whis' senses like a thunderclap. A key signature unlike anything any of them have ever felt. Saiyan, yes, unmistakably Saiyan, but so vast, so raw, so wild that it does not feel like a person. It feels like weather, like a natural disaster with a heartbeat. Whis speaks first. That is a Saiyan. Vegeta's voice is tight. That's impossible. Nothing reads like that. Goku's tail goes rigid. His Uzaru instinct, the great ape he integrated into his base form during the trials, trembles. Not from fear, from recognition. Whatever just landed on this world, it is the closest thing to the primal Uzaru he has ever sensed in humanoid form. Broly, Goku whispers. He does not know the name, but his blood does. A crater, mile wide, carved into the earth by an impact that vaporized stone and soil in concentric rings of devastation. At the center crouches a figure, enormous, scarred across every visible surface of skin, feral in posture and presence. His hair is matted black, wild, falling past his shoulders. His eyes dart between confused and hostile, never settling, never calm. A tail, unwrapped, bristling, enormous, coils and uncoils behind him with uncontrolled agitation. The air around him tastes like ozone. Animals have fled for miles in every direction. This is Broly, and he is terrified. His history is written in his body. Exiled as an infant by King Vegeta, who feared the abnormal power reading that Broly displayed at birth. A power too great and too unstable to be allowed near the royal family. Launched in a pod to a frozen, barren planetoid at the edge of Universe 7. Raised by nothing. No parent, no teacher, no companion. He survived through biological imperative alone. Saiyan resilience keeping his body alive in conditions that would kill most species in hours. He learned to hunt the alien fauna of his frozen prison. He learned to fight by fighting the environment itself. Storms that would shatter mountains. Predators evolved to kill in the dark. Geological upheavals that reshaped the landscape without warning. His power grew without structure or limit, because there was no one to tell him to stop, no one to teach him control, no one to teach him anything at all. He does not speak fluently. He communicates in broken fragments, words salvaged from the automated systems of his crashed pod before they failed and went silent forever. He can say basic things: food, cold, hurt, alone. He does not know the word Saiyan. He does not know the word friend. He knows enemy and survive. His journey across space was driven purely by instinct, the Saiyan resonance pulling him toward others of his kind, like gravity pulls a falling stone. He did not understand the pull, he just followed it, because following was better than staying. And when he landed on this planet and felt the key signatures of 4 Saiyans nearby, his reaction was not excitement or relief, it was terror. He has never been near anyone before. The sensation of other living presences is overwhelming. He does not know if they are threats. His default response to everything unknown is the same: fight. Goku wants to go to Broly immediately. Whis advises extreme caution. That power level is difficult to quantify, the angel says carefully. It's not refined. It's not trained, but the raw output exceeds your Super Saiyan in sheer volume, if not in efficiency. If he perceives you as a threat, the resulting battle could destroy this continent. Vegeta wants to establish dominance. He's a Saiyan. Saiyans respect strength. Caulifla cuts him off. You'll scare the hell out of him, is what you'll do. He reads like a cornered animal. You don't charge a cornered animal. Vegeta bristles. And your expertise in Saiyan psychology comes from what? Your soft Universe 6 upbringing? Caulifla does not blink. It comes from not being a complete idiot. In the background, Kale almost smiles. Goku goes alone, over everyone's objections. He approaches Broly's crater slowly, his ki suppressed to almost nothing. His hands open and visible, his tail out and relaxed. Every body language signal of non-aggression that Raditz once taught him, and that his own Uzaru instincts confirm as universal among Saiyans. He enters the crater. Broly sees him and erupts, not from aggression, from pure animal panic. His ki explodes outward in a defensive shockwave that sends Goku flying. Goku recovers midair, lands on the crater rim, and looks down. Broly is in a combat stance, but his eyes are wrong. Too wide, too fast, too desperate. He is not attacking, he is defending. Against the first living being to ever willingly approach him. Goku realizes what this is. This is not a fight, this is a rescue. Goku does what he did on the Scarred World in Season 2, when he first encountered a broken place and chose to stay. He sits down, in the middle of the crater, in the blast zone of a being whose raw power could obliterate him without effort. He sits, cross-legged, palms on his knees, and waits. Broly stares. His fists tremble. His ki fluctuates between attack and retreat. Minutes pass. No attack comes from Goku. No threat materializes. Slowly, agonizingly slowly, Broly's defensive posture loosens. His ki drops, not to calm, but to confusion. Why is this creature not attacking? Why is it just sitting? Goku speaks, gently, the way one speaks to something that has never heard a kind voice. I'm Goku. I'm Saiyan. Like you. He points to his own tail, then to Broly's. Same. Broly's eyes fix on Goku's tail. His own tail twitches in response. The resonance between them hums, louder now, up close, almost audible, a frequency that both their Saiyan bodies recognize at a level deeper than language or thought. Broly takes one step forward, then another. He is trembling, not from cold, not from power, but from the sheer, overwhelming experience of being near someone who is not trying to kill him. Goku extends his hand, palm up, open, the same gesture he once offered Vegeta when the prince had nothing left. Broly stares at it for a long time. He does not understand the gesture. No one has ever offered him anything, but something in his Saiyan blood, something older than language, older than civilization, older than memory, understands the intent behind it. Trust, offering, safety. Broly reaches out. His hand is twice the size of Goku's. It shakes violently. He touches Goku's palm. The moment their hands connect, both their ki systems react. Goku's dual ki flares, silver red, harmonized, singing with the power of divine and mortal energy merged into one. Broly's wild, green-tinged Saiyan ki surges in response, drawn toward Goku's signature like a river finding the ocean. It is not a power transfer, it is resonance. Two Saiyan signatures recognizing each other at the deepest level of existence. For one transcendent instant, the crater fills with light, gold, silver, red, green, every flavor of Saiyan and angelic energy, singing in an accidental harmony that makes the planet ring like a bell struck by a god. The resonance is felt across the multiverse. On the far side of reality, in the Grand Minister's palace, Daishinkan senses it. His eyes widen. In Universe 11, crossing the void between stars, Jiren feels it. He changes course. He is coming faster now. In a medical pod aboard a warship, Frieza feels it. His smile vanishes. The light fades. Goku and Broly stand hand to hand in the smoking crater. Broly's eyes are wet. He does not know what tears are. He does not know why his face is doing this unfamiliar thing. but he grips Goku's hand like a drowning man gripping a rope and says the only word that feels right, the only word his broken fragments of language can assemble to match what he is feeling. Brother? Goku's eyes sting. He nods. Yeah, brother. Goku leads Broly out of the crater. The group watches his approach. Caulifla's face cycles through shock, concern, and a fierce protectiveness she did not expect to feel for a stranger. Vegeta's face is stone, but his tail relaxes from its rigid wrap around his waist, an involuntary signal of acceptance. He sees what Goku sees, another Saiyan who was abandoned, another piece of a broken mirror. Kale looks at Broly and sees herself, power too large for the person carrying it, terror of what they might become. She steps forward without a word and offers him water. Broly takes it with shaking hands and drinks. It is the first thing anyone has ever given him. Night falls. Broly sleeps for the first time in safety, surrounded by other Saiyans, guarded without knowing it, his massive form curled in on itself like a child who has never been allowed to rest. Goku sits watch. Whis approaches, his expression grave. The resonance event was felt across the multiverse, the angel says. Anyone looking for us now has a precise location. Goku asks how long they have. Days, perhaps less. Whis hesitates. And my sister felt it too. She will interpret this as validation of her thesis. Saiyans gathering, power growing, the hierarchy straining under the weight of what mortals can become. Goku looks at the sleeping Broly, at Caulifla, dozing against a tree with her tail curled around her knees, at Kale, sitting quietly in the moonlight, at Vegeta, pretending to sleep but watching everything from beneath a furrowed brow. Then we better be ready, Goku says, because I'm not losing any more of them. Dawn breaks over a field where 5 Saiyans stand together for the first time. Goku, Vegeta, Caulifla, Kale, and Broly. Whis counts them from a nearby hill, a cup of tea in his hand. 5 Saiyans in one place, he muses. The most since Planet Vegeta. He takes a sip. This is either the beginning of something wonderful or the prelude to a catastrophe, possibly both. Training begins, and every pairing reveals something important. Goku works with Broly on the most basic element of all, control. Broly's power is a flood with no dam. Goku teaches him breathing techniques adapted from his angelic training, simplified to their most elemental form. Breathe in, gather. Breathe out, release. Broly struggles. When he gathers too much, the ground cracks beneath his feet. When he releases too fast, the air ignites around him. But he tries, with a desperation that breaks hearts, because Goku told him to try. And Goku is the first person who ever told him anything at all. Caulifla and Vegeta are forced to spar by Whis, who is clearly enjoying the social experiment. Their styles clash violently. Vegeta's rigid, royal, perfected technique against Caulifla's fluid, chaotic improvisation. They push each other to fury, but in the fury, something productive happens. Vegeta is forced to adapt. For the first time, he fights someone who does not follow any rulebook he recognizes. Caulifla's chaos shoves Vegeta out of his deeply grooved patterns, and in those moments of disrupted rhythm, his ki fluctuates, not breaking, seeking. Something inside him is trying to emerge. Not Super Saiyan, something else. Something that stirs only when his control is challenged at its foundations. In secret, Kale trains alone. The green energy returns, larger, heavier, more sustained than before. She is terrified of it, but drawn to it in equal measure. She manages to hold the surge for 10 seconds without losing consciousness. Her eyes flash green, her muscles bulk slightly. It is a transformation waiting to happen, growing beneath her skin like a storm gathering behind the mountains, and she does not know if it will be her salvation or her destruction. Later, Goku and Caulifla spar alone. Their sessions have become the highlight of every training day. The chemistry between them is undeniable. Not romantic yet, but electric in a way that makes the air crackle. They challenge each other in ways that are fundamentally different from the Goku-Vegeta rivalry, where Vegeta pushes Goku through pride and competition, Caulifla pushes Goku through joy. She makes fighting fun again. She reminds him that beneath the destiny and the grief and the cosmic weight, he is a Saiyan who loves to fight. And he reminds her that beneath the bravado and the ferocity, there is a discipline she has never explored, a depth she has never tapped. They make each other better, and they are starting to notice. After a sparring session, Caulifla lies on the grass, exhausted and grinning at the sky. Goku sits beside her, catching his breath. She says, "You fight different when we spar." Goku asks how. "Happier," she says. Goku does not respond with words, but his tail, unconsciously, automatically, reaches toward her. Whis sees it from his observation point, and he smiles. A real, warm, big brother smile. "About time," he murmurs. The episode's real conflict plays out in Vegeta's escalating frustration. He watches Goku bond with Broly, a low-class exile embraced like family, given the title brother, as if bloodline meant nothing. He watches Caulifla match his techniques in days that took him years to master. He watches Kale, whom he considers insignificant, concealing a power she does not deserve. Everyone around him is growing, connecting, evolving, and he is stuck. His body is at its peak. His technique is flawless, but the transformation will not come, because the transformation does not require a better body or better technique. It requires a better Vegeta, and he does not know how to become that. That night, Vegeta confronts Whis directly. "The transformation," he says. "The Super Saiyan. Why can't I reach it?" Whis, for once completely serious, gives him the answer he needs but does not want. "Because you're trying to reach it the way Goku did, and you are not Goku." Vegeta scoffs. "Obviously." Whis shakes his head. "No, I mean fundamentally. Goku achieves Super Saiyan through emotional completeness, the unification of grief, love, purpose, and will. That is his path. Born from his experience, raised in a palace of gods, grieving a brother, fighting for an identity split between two worlds. Your experience is different. Your path must be different." Vegeta stares. "Then what is my path?" Whis looks at him with something close to compassion. "I don't know, but I know this. Every time you try to reach Super Saiyan, you're reaching for Goku's light. Stop. Find your own." Vegeta is silent. "My own," he repeats. Whis asks the question that will change everything. "What made you, Vegeta? Not what you want to be. What made you?" Vegeta's answer comes from a place deeper than thought. "Suffering." Whis nods. "Then perhaps that's where your power lives. Not in emotional completeness, in emotional sovereignty. Mastery over the pain rather than release from it. The seed is planted." Vegeta walks to the edge of camp. He looks at his own reflection in a still pond, the royal crest on his armor, the scars that map his history, the face that has worn obedience like a mask for decades. He clenches his fist and his ki erupts. Not blue, not gold, violet. Deep, dark, controlled, compressed. A color no one in the multiverse has ever seen in a Saiyan aura. It flickers for a heartbeat and dies, but Vegeta felt it. Something that is entirely, uniquely his. He closes his eyes. "My own light," he whispers. "I don't need theirs." Dawn. Vegeta stands alone in a wasteland of his own creation. He has trained all night, not sleeping, not resting, chasing the violet flicker through failure after failure. The ground is destroyed for a half-mile in every direction, cratered and scorched by the raw energy of a prince fighting himself. His body is ruined, cuts, bruises, ki burns across every surface, but his eyes are more alive than they have been in the entire series. He trains, and each exercise becomes a meditation. Each failure becomes a confrontation with a memory he has carried for a lifetime. He throws a ki blast and remembers his father sending him to Frieza, a child traded to a tyrant as a guarantee of a conquered people's obedience. The blast is weak. The memory makes him furious, but the fury is old, stale. It does not power anything anymore. He executes a perfect combination and remembers Planet Vegeta burning, the flash of light visible even from Frieza's ship, the silence afterward that was worse than any scream. The technique is flawless. The memory is agony, but agony alone is not enough. He has been in agony for decades, and it has not transformed him. He pushes to his absolute physical limit and remembers kneeling before Frieza, the humiliation, the obedience, the choice to survive, at the cost of everything a Saiyan prince should be. And in that memory, that terrible, shameful, necessary memory, he finds something he was not looking for. Self-forgiveness, not absolution, not the lie of, "it's okay," but the understanding that the boy who knelt before Frieza did the only thing he could do. He was a child. He was alone. There was no Daishinkan to rescue him, no Whis to guide him, no angelic palace to shelter him from the storm. He survived the only way available, and surviving, even by kneeling, was not weakness. It was the most Saiyan thing he could have done, because Saiyans survive. That is what they do. The breakthrough comes, not from rage, not from grief, not from love, from sovereignty. Vegeta stands in the wasteland and asks himself the question Whis gave him. What made me? Not anger. Anger was the symptom. Not pride. Pride was the mask. Not suffering. Suffering was the environment. What made Vegeta was the decision, made 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times in the darkest moments of the darkest years, to remain himself. Under Frieza's boot, surrounded by the ashes of his world, wearing the armor of his people's murderer, Vegeta chose every single day to remember who he was. He could not fight, he could not flee, he could not win, but he could refuse to forget. And that refusal, that quiet, stubborn, unbreakable declaration of identity in the face of total defeat, is the most powerful thing Vegeta has ever done. More powerful than any ki blast. More powerful than Super Saiyan. It is the power of a man who was broken and chose not to shatter. Vegeta's aura erupts. Violet. Deep. Royal. Absolute. Not gold like Goku's. Gold is fire, emotion, connection. Violet is authority, self-mastery, the color of a king who rules himself before he rules anything else. His hair does not change color, it sharpens, every strand becoming more defined, as if each one is a blade. His eyes deepen to a violet-tinted black. His ki compresses rather than exploding. Where Super Saiyan radiates outward like a sun, Vegeta's transformation concentrates inward, becoming denser, harder, more lethal per unit of energy. It is not bigger than Super Saiyan, it is sharper. This is Super Saiyan Sovereign, Vegeta's answer. Not a copy of Goku's transformation, a completely original evolution born from Vegeta's unique experience. The power of absolute self-determination. Where Super Saiyan is the Saiyan will to survive made manifest, Sovereign is the Saiyan will to rule oneself made manifest. The transformation holds, stable, sustained. Vegeta stands in it and feels, for the first time in his life, whole. Not complete in the way Goku's Super Saiyan is complete. Vegeta is whole because he mastered everything he endured. Different path, same destination. Both Saiyan, both real, both earned. Vegeta walks back to camp, wreathed in violet light. The group stares in silence. Goku sees the transformation and feels it. A power that is unmistakably Saiyan, but completely, beautifully different from his own Super Saiyan. His first reaction is not jealousy, it is pride. He grins, the biggest, most genuine grin of the season. You found it, Vegeta meets his eyes. I found mine. They stand face to face, gold potential and violet actuality. Two princes of a dead world, each carrying a different answer to the same question. Caulifla stares with her jaw hanging open. Both of you can transform? She wheels on Kale. That's it. I'm doing it next. Kale, watch me. Kale's voice is soft but certain. I always do. Broly watches Vegeta's violet aura and tilts his head, confused but attentive. He does not understand transformation, but he understands the feeling radiating from Vegeta. Peace. Not calm, not stillness. The peace of someone who has finally stopped fighting himself. Broly reaches up and touches his own chest. He does not have that peace. He does not know what it feels like, but watching Vegeta, he wants it. For the first time in his life, Broly wants something beyond survival. Whis observes the transformation with genuine awe. He contacts Daishinkan. Father, Vegeta has achieved the Saiyan transformation, but it's not Super Saiyan. It's something new. Daishinkan asks him to describe it. Whis details the violet energy, the inward compression, the self-sovereignty. Daishinkan is silent for a long time. Then, remarkable. Different soil, different flower, same root. Whis agrees. The Saiyan race continues to surprise. Daishinkan's voice carries a depth of feeling that he cannot entirely conceal. They always did. That's why Frieza feared them, and why he stops himself. Whatever he was about to say, he seals it behind composure. Protect them, Whis. Both of them. What they're becoming, the universe needs it, more than they know. Then everyone feels it at the same time. A key signature entering their region of space. Massive, controlled, impossibly dense. It does not radiate, it suppresses. The air grows heavier. The light dims, as though something has stepped between the world and its sun. The signature is not hostile. It is not friendly. It is simply, overwhelmingly present. Jiren. He descends through the atmosphere in perfect silence. No ship, no vehicle, no aura display. Just a figure falling from the sky like a judgment rendered in flesh. He lands 100 meters from the camp, crosses his arms, and waits. His eyes find Goku. They bore through him, through the dual ki, through the Saiyan blood and angelic training, through everything, straight to the core of what Goku is. And Jiren speaks. One sentence. Calm. Absolute. Final. You should not exist. Explain yourself. Jiren stands motionless. The group arrays around him at distance. Vegeta in sovereign stance, Caulifla with fists raised, Kale trembling, Broly growling with instinctive hostility at this overwhelming new presence. They can all feel it. Jiren is stronger than anyone here, possibly stronger than all of them combined. Whis alone is relaxed. Jiren of Universe 11, he says pleasantly. Welcome. T? Jiren ignores everyone except Goku. His focus is absolute, total, unwavering. He has crossed universal boundaries to investigate the dual ki anomaly, a mortal carrying divine energy. To Jiren, this is not inspiring. It is offensive. Jiren's philosophy is built on a brutal axiom forged in the ashes of his own tragedy. Strength is truth. The strong survive, the weak perish. Trust is an illusion that crumbles the moment it is tested. He lost his master. He lost his friends. Everything he ever trusted was destroyed. He became strong because strength was the only thing that never betrayed him. And Goku's dual-key nature offends him at the deepest level, because it implies that a mortal can be given divine power through relationship, through being raised, taught, loved by higher beings. In Jiren's worldview, nothing of value is given. Everything must be earned alone. Goku's power, in Jiren's analysis, was given by Daishinkan, and therefore it is not real, not earned, not true. The conversation that follows is the intellectual heart of the season. Jiren lays out his case with the precision of a closing argument. You carry power you did not earn. An angel raised you. An angel trained you. An angel stands beside you now. Remove the angels, and what are you? A Saiyan infant. Nothing. Goku listens. He does not immediately argue, because part of what Jiren is saying echoes Vegeta's original accusation, that Goku's power is borrowed, not earned. It is a wound that has never fully healed. But Goku responds, not with defensiveness, with a question. And you? You're the strongest mortal alive. You earned it all alone. No one gave you anything. Jiren nods. Correct. Goku tilts his head. Are you happy? The question lands like a bomb in a monastery. Jiren does not answer. His jaw tightens. Goku continues. Because I wasn't in the palace, surrounded by gods, with all the training and divine ki in the universe. I was the loneliest person alive. The power wasn't enough. It was never enough. What saved me wasn't the power, it was the people. Whis, Raditz, Vegeta, every person who chose to stay. That's what I earned, not the key, the connections. Jiren's response is quiet and sharp. And when those connections fail, when the people who chose to stay are taken from you, what then? Goku thinks of Raditz, of a brother he found and lost in the span of a single desperate mission. Then it hurts, more than anything. But it doesn't make the connection a mistake. It makes it important. Jiren is unmoved. You are naive. Goku holds his gaze. Maybe. Are you lonely? Jiren's ki surges. Involuntary, massive, suppressed almost instantly. But everyone in the camp felt it like a shockwave. The question hit the nerve. The nerve. The one Jiren has buried beneath layers of absolute power and absolute isolation. He does not answer. Instead, he delivers an ultimatum. I did not come to discuss philosophy. I came to assess a threat. A mortal with divine ki is a violation of the natural order. If you cannot demonstrate that your existence serves the universe rather than endangering it, I will correct the violation. The group prepares for the worst. Vegeta ignites Sovereign. Caulifla plants her feet. Broly's growl deepens to a rumble that shakes the ground, but Goku raises his hand. Don't. This isn't about fighting. He faces Jiren alone. You want to see what I am? What my existence means? Then look. He opens his ki, fully, without reservation. Silver and red, angelic and Saiyan. The dual ki laid completely bare, harmonized and singing. He lets Jiren feel everything, not as words, not as argument, but as energy, because ki carries emotion in this universe, and Goku is both mortal and divine. His open ki reads like a story: the palace, the loneliness, the first flight to Universe 9, the disobedience, the discovery, Raditz, the grief, the golden fire, Vegeta, Caulifla, Broly. Every connection, every loss, every choice, imprinted in the energy itself, and offered without defense or deception. Jiren reads it. He stands in the wash of Goku's open ki and absorbs his entire life in seconds. And his reaction is not what anyone expects. He does not attack. He does not approve. He shakes. For one instant, the wall trembles, because he felt something in Goku's ki that he recognizes. The same loss, the same determination, the same refusal to disappear. But Goku took that pain and built connections. Jiren took the same pain and built walls. And standing in Goku's open ki, Jiren feels what his life might have been if he had chosen differently. The road not taken, the warmth not sought, the trust not extended. Jiren turns away. His voice is controlled but different, rougher, scraped raw at the edges. You are not what I expected. Goku asks, is that a pass? Jiren, it is a deferral. I will observe. I will not attack. A pause. Yet. He walks to the edge of the camp and sits, alone, separate, watching, arms folded, eyes open, judging everything. Caulifla exhales a breath she has been holding for the entire confrontation. What just happened? She asks. Goku answers. I think he's staying. Vegeta shakes his head. He's not staying. He's judging. Every moment. Goku looks at him and then at their growing impossible group. A prince, a street fighter, a feral giant, a shy powerhouse, a watchful angel, and now a silent judge from another universe, and laughs. Not from humor, from the absurdity, from the joy of it, from the sheer, impossible, ridiculous life of it. His tail sways. In the corner of the camp, Broly hears the laughter and tilts his head. He's never heard the sound before. He tries to mimic it. What comes out is a low, rumbling bark that sounds like a bear trying to chuckle. Everyone stares. Then Caulifla starts laughing. Then Kale. Even Whis joins in. Vegeta doesn't laugh, but the corner of his mouth twitches, and Jiren, from his solitary perch, watches a group of broken people laughing together, and his hands, folded across his chest, tighten. And Jiren, from his solitary perch, watches a group of broken people laughing together, and his hands, folded across his chest, tighten. That night, on the far side of the universe, Vados materializes before Frieza's holographic image. The assessment is complete, she reports. 5 Saiyans, 1 Angel Guardian, and now a Universe 11 combatant of extraordinary power. Frieza asks about the timeline for engagement. Vados' answer is blunt. Accelerated. They're consolidating. If you wait, they become unassailable. Frieza rises to his feet. His full void form coalesces around him, cold, dark, negating. Then we don't wait. He issues his command. Prepare the fleet. And Vados, I want you on the field this time, not as an observer, as a participant. Vados' smile does not reach her eyes. Lord Frieza, I am an angel. I do not fight mortal battles. Frieza's gaze is unyielding. You want to break the divine hierarchy? Start by getting your hands dirty. Their eyes meet. The fault lines in their alliance show clearly. 2 beings who need each other and trust each other not at all. But for now, the arrangement holds. Vados nods. Very well, this once. But understand, I'm not doing this for your empire. Frieza does not care about her reasons. I don't care why you do it. I care that you do it. The transmission ends. Vados stands alone. She looks at her own hands. Perfect, divine, untouched by mortal conflict. Forgive me, Father, she whispers. This is necessary. She does not sound certain. The sky splits. Not Frieza's fleet, something worse. The sky itself tears open, and a reality wound rips into existence directly above the planet, bleeding unstable energy in waves that distort everything they touch. It is one of the 12 wounds Daishinkan has been monitoring across the multiverse, and Vados has destabilized it deliberately, turning a dormant cosmic scar into an active crisis. The wound does not destroy, it distorts. Ki behaves unpredictably near it, fluctuating and reversing without warning. Physics bend. Light fractures. The group's training ground becomes a hazard zone in seconds. And while everyone is looking up at the tear in reality, Frieza's fleet drops out of hyperspace, surrounding the planet. Hundreds of warships, a perfect pincer strategy. Cosmic chaos above, imperial military below. The group is forced to split. Whis must address the reality wound. He can stabilize and seal it by channeling angelic energy into the tear, but the process requires intense concentration over an extended period. During the sealing, he cannot protect anyone else. This is Vados' strategy laid bare. Remove the angel from the board, then crush the mortals with overwhelming force. Goku stays with Whis as protection, guarding the angel during the sealing process, which means Goku is pulled from the battle against Frieza's fleet. Vegeta and Caulifla engage the fleet directly. Vegeta in Super Saiyan Sovereign, his violet aura blazing, and Caulifla in base, burning bright and adapting mid-battle with her signature improvisational genius. Their partnership is the most effective military combination the season has produced. Vegeta's controlled, compressed power, combined with Caulifla's unpredictable chaos, creates a fighting style that Frieza's commanders cannot model or anticipate. For every tactic they prepare against Vegeta's discipline, Caulifla breaks the pattern. For every adjustment they make to counter Caulifla's chaos, Vegeta exploits the opening. On the planet's surface, Kale and Broly protect the civilians. Both carry hidden volatile power that they fear. Both have been overshadowed by the primary cast all season, and both are about to break through. In orbit, Vegeta and Caulifla face Frieza's upgraded commanders, not Frieza himself, who holds back, watching, letting his army probe the Saiyans' limits. The commanders are equipped with refined anti-Saiyan technology, second-generation weapons adapted from the destroyed Saiyan extinction protocol. The new systems are less powerful, but more precisely targeted. Vegeta's Sovereign form resists the suppression effect better than Goku's Super Saiyan did. Sovereign's inward compression makes it harder to disrupt from outside, but Caulifla, fighting in base without a transformation to shield her, is vulnerable. A suppression pulse hits her clean, and her ki drops by half. She staggers. The next blast is already incoming. Vegeta puts himself between her and the weapon, without thinking, without calculating. The prince, who has lived his entire life for himself, absorbs the full force of an anti-Saiyan suppression blast to shield someone weaker. His sovereign flickers under the impact. He does not fall. Caulifla sees it, files it away in the place where she keeps things that matter, says nothing, but her respect for Vegeta shifts permanently. On the surface, the situation is dire. Frieza's ground forces advance on civilian positions with methodical brutality. Broly is fighting, badly, chaotically, his uncontrolled power destroying as much ground as enemies, creating new dangers with every blast. Civilians are caught in the crossfire. Kale sees a child about to be crushed by collapsing debris from a destroyed building. She runs, she reaches, she is not fast enough, she is not strong enough, and then she is. Kale's hidden power erupts. Not a controlled transformation, an explosion. Green ki, massive, primal, overwhelming, pouring from her body in a torrent that reshapes the ground around her. Her body changes, taller, more muscular, her eyes glowing an incandescent green, her hair spiking with emerald energy. This is Berserker Kale, the Universe 6 equivalent of the legendary Super Saiyan, a mutation that amplifies Saiyan biology past all normal limits at the cost of conscious control. She catches the debris, hurls it into the advancing soldiers with force that sends them flying, and she screams, a sound that shatters windows across the settlement, raw and terrified, and more powerful than anything she has ever produced. She is out of control. The Berserker form does not distinguish friend from foe. Energy radiates from her in uncontrolled waves, threatening everything nearby. Broly, the only one close enough to reach her, feels her ki and responds instinctively, his own wild power surging upward to meet hers. Two uncontrolled Saiyan powerhouses, radiating enough combined energy to level the continent. The nightmare scenario made flesh. But something unexpected happens. Broly does not attack Kale. He recognizes her, not personally, but the feeling, the terror of power you cannot control, the animal panic of your own body becoming a weapon you never asked for. He has lived that his entire life. Every day on his frozen prison, every moment his power surged beyond his ability to contain it. He knows this fear, and instead of fighting, he does what Goku did for him. He approaches, slowly, through the maelstrom of Kale's uncontrolled ki, through the blasts of green energy that would vaporize a lesser being. He reaches out. His hand finds her shoulder, and he says the word Goku taught him. Brother. It is the wrong word, but the meaning is right. You are not alone. I know what this feels like. Hold on. Kale's wild eyes focus on Broly, on his hand, on his face, terrified and kind and lost, just like her. The Berserker form does not recede, but it stabilizes. Her screaming stops. Her eyes clear, still green, still transformed, but conscious. She is holding the form, barely, shaking with the effort, for the first time, because someone reached through the storm and told her she was not alone. From above the planet, where Whis channels angelic energy into the reality wound, Goku senses both eruptions, Kale's Berserker awakening and Broly's resonance response. He looks at Whis, who is deep in concentration, the wound slowly narrowing under his sustained effort. Goku is torn. His people need him below, but Whis needs protection here. He chose to stay. He has to trust the others. He has to trust them. This is what leadership means, not doing everything yourself, letting others fight, believing they are enough. His hand tightens on Daishinkan's depleted pendant. Come on, he whispers. Hold together. The reality wound begins to close under Whis' sustained effort, but as it narrows, something becomes visible through the shrinking gap, a glimpse of what exists on the other side. And it is not empty void. There is something there, a presence, vast, dark, patient, ancient beyond comprehension. Whis sees it. His concentration fractures for one instant. The wound pulses, wider for a single heartbeat, and a tendril of dark energy reaches through the gap. It touches the space around them, and everything within 100 meters simply stops. Not frozen, not destroyed, paused. Time, matter, energy, all paused, as if reality itself has been put on hold by something that regards reality as a toy. Then the wound closes, the pause ends, everything resumes. But Whis is pale. His hands shake in a way that angel hands should never shake. Goku asks what happened. What was that? Whis stares at the sealed wound, and his voice is barely audible. Something that should not exist. Something from before the 12 universes, before Zeno, before everything. He turns to Goku. His eyes hold a fear that angels should not be capable of feeling. We need to speak with Father. Immediately, Whis' emergency communication reaches Daishinkan through the highest encryption an angel can employ. Father, the wound in Universe 7 was opened deliberately by Vados. I sealed it, but before it closed, I saw the other side. Silence stretches across the divine frequency. Then, Daishinkan's voice, stripped of every layer of composure. What did you see, Whis? Something alive. Something waiting. Daishinkan reveals the first layer of the endgame truth. Before the 12 universes existed in their current form, before Zeno organized reality into the structure that exists now, there was an earlier iteration, a proto-multiverse, chaotic, unstructured, ruled by beings of such primordial power that even Zeno's erasure could not fully destroy them. These beings, Daishinkan calls them the Eclipsed, were sealed outside of reality when Zeno created the current multiverse. The reality wounds are places where that seal is weakest. They have existed since the beginning. They were stable, but something is making them unstable, and Vados, by deliberately rupturing one, has accelerated the deterioration dramatically. The Eclipsed are not dead, Daishinkan says. They are patient. They have been pressing against the seal for eons, and every time reality is strained, by universe-level power outputs, by dimensional breaches, by the accumulation of cosmic-scale energy, the seal weakens. He pauses. The gathering of Saiyans, the Super Saiyan transformation, the Sovereign transformation, the Berserker awakening. Each of these events radiates energy that the Eclipsed can feel. Each one thins the barrier. Goku's voice is tight. Are you saying our transformations are making it worse? Daishinkan's answer is devastating. I am saying that the stronger you become, the more they notice. And the more they notice, the harder they push. It is the cruelest irony of the entire series. The very growth that defines Goku and his allies is feeding the endgame threat. Getting stronger makes the danger worse, but not getting stronger means Frieza, Vados, and every other threat wins unopposed. There is no safe option. Goku asks the question he has been circling for his entire life. Is this why you kept me? The divine blood. Is this what it's for? Daishinkan's response is not an answer. Not yet. You are not ready for that answer. Goku presses. Father. Daishinkan's voice cracks with the most emotion he has ever shown. Trust me. There is a purpose. There is a plan. But it requires time. Time I am running out of. The communication ends. Goku stares at the silent pendant. Whatever Daishinkan is hiding, whatever the true purpose of the divine blood is, it is close enough to taste and terrifying enough that the Grand Minister of the Multiverse cannot bring himself to speak it aloud. While the cosmic revelation unfolds above the planet, Frieza descends to the surface personally, void form active, full power radiating from every cell. He walks through the ruins of the surface battle, past his own fallen soldiers, past the craters left by Kale and Broly's eruptions, and finds Vegeta standing in the wreckage. The confrontation that follows is the most personal battle of the season. Frieza does not care about the others, not yet. He cares about Vegeta, the prince who defied him, the pet who bit the hand. I made you, Vegeta, Frieza says, his voice silken with decades of ownership. Every scar, every humiliation, every mission, I sculpted you, and now you've developed a pretty new color. He gestures dismissively at Vegeta's violet sovereign aura. Let me see if it's real. Vegeta versus Frieza. Super Saiyan Sovereign versus Void Form. It is the fight Vegeta has waited his entire life for. Not Goku's fight, not a tag team, but his reckoning with his tormentor. And it is magnificent. Sovereign Vegeta is a revelation in combat. His compressed, controlled energy counters Frieza's negation differently than Goku's Super Saiyan did. Where SSJ overwhelmed the negation with dual ki fusion and raw output, Sovereign outlasts it. Vegeta's inward-focused power is harder to negate because there is less ki radiating outward for Frieza to target. The fight becomes a war of attrition, Frieza trying to crack Sovereign's compressed shell, Vegeta enduring and counter-striking with surgical precision. Vegeta lands a clean hit, then another. He is not winning. Frieza is still more powerful overall, but he is competing, holding his own, fighting the Emperor who enslaved him as an equal. And Frieza sees it, sees the transformation that was born from sovereignty, from self-mastery, from the decision to stop kneeling. And Frieza is enraged, because Vegeta's transformation is, implicitly, a rejection of everything Frieza ever did to him. It says, you broke me, and I remade myself. You do not own me anymore. Frieza, pushed beyond composure, escalates. His void form deepens, darker, colder, the negation field expanding with renewed fury. He reveals that he has not been idle since their last encounter. You think I've been sitting in my throne, trembling? He hisses. I've been training, Vegeta. For the first time in my life, I trained. Because for the first time in my life, I was afraid. His power output jumps dramatically. Vegeta is overwhelmed. Sovereign cannot match this level of raw output. He is driven back, taking damage, his concentration wavering under the onslaught. Then, Caulifla hits Frieza from behind. Full force. No transformation, just raw Saiyan fury, and the improvisational genius that makes her a nightmare to predict. Frieza did not sense her approach because she fights on instinct, not intent, and his negation field reads intent. It cannot read chaos. Caulifla lands 3 clean hits before Frieza adapts and swats her down with a backhanded blast. But those 3 hits gave Vegeta the moment he needed to stabilize Sovereign and recover his footing. Vegeta and Caulifla exchange a glance. One breath of mutual understanding. No words, no discussion, just 2 warriors recognizing what the other offers. Then they attack together. Not the Goku-Vegeta coordination that was always slightly incompatible, 2 similar energies clashing at the edges. This is Vegeta-Caulifla synergy, control and chaos, discipline and improvisation. The Prince and the Street Fighter. And it works. Better than it should. Frieza is, for the first time in the battle, genuinely off balance. Frieza, cornered and furious, makes a decision. He signals Vados. The Angel, now! And Vados acts. She does not fight directly. She manipulates the battlefield. With a wave of her hand, she distorts local space-time. A minor application of angelic power, technically not combat, but devastatingly effective. Vegeta's and Caulifla's movements stutter as their key flows are disrupted for a critical instant. Frieza capitalizes without hesitation. A point-blank void form blast catches Vegeta dead center. Super Saiyan Sovereign shatters. Vegeta drops. Caulifla screams his name. Not Prince, not Your Highness, not any title, just his name. Vegeta! And the sound carries something the audience has never heard from her. Fear for someone other than herself. Whis, returning from the sealed reality wound with Goku, feels Vados' interference ripple through the key field of the planet. His expression turns to stone. He whispers, "Sister, you've crossed the line." Goku arrives on the battlefield. He takes in the scene in a single sweeping instant. Vegeta down in a crater, Sovereign broken. Frieza standing, void form intact and radiating cold triumph. Caulifla bleeding and defiant, positioning herself between Frieza and Vegeta's fallen form. Broly and Kale holding the line against the remaining ground forces on the far side of the settlement. And above it all, barely perceptible but unmistakable to anyone trained in angelic energy, Vados' key signature, hidden, watching, manipulating the strings. Goku's aura ignites, gold-silver, Super Saiyan. But this time, it is not a 12-second flicker, not a 45-second training attempt, not a fragile, unsustainable experiment. Under the weight of everything, the cosmic revelation about the eclipsed, the people he needs to protect, the prince lying in a crater, the woman screaming his rival's name, Goku's Super Saiyan stabilizes completely. The psychological bottleneck Whis identified, the inability to sustain the emotional state, breaks apart and dissolves. Because the emotional state is no longer an abstract feeling Goku has to generate and hold. It is real. It is here. The grief is real. The love is real. The will is real. The fire is real. And he does not need to reach for it anymore. He just needs to stop holding it back. Super Saiyan. Sustained. Duration, unlimited. Mastery, combat viable. For real. For keeps. Goku faces Frieza across the scarred battlefield. Gold, silver aura, stable, burning with the unified light of divine precision and Saiyan fury. Frieza faces him, void form, cold, and absolute. But this time, Goku is not at 70%. He is not unstable. He is not flickering. He is the Super Saiyan. Frieza, Goku says. His voice is calm. Golden light plays across his features. Leave. Now. Take your fleet. Go home. This is the last time I ask. Frieza smiles. And if I refuse? Goku's expression does not change. Then I stop asking. 2 battles begin simultaneously. In the sky above the planet, Goku and Frieza, Super Saiyan versus Void form, the clash that has been building since Season 2. On the ground, Whis confronts Vados directly. Brother against sister, angel against angel. The planet beneath them does not know if it will survive the day. Sustained Super Saiyan Goku is a different animal entirely. The 12-second flicker was a firecracker. This is a sun. He fights with everything he has ever learned and everything he has ever been. Angelic precision guiding his movements. Saiyan ferocity powering his strikes. Dual key harmonization adapting his energy in real time. Uzaru integrated base strength amplified by the Super Saiyan multiplier. Frieza is pushed harder than anyone has ever pushed him. The Void Form's negation is less effective against sustained Super Saiyan because Goku's energy output is constant and adaptive. The gold-silver key self-corrects around negation fields, finding gaps and exploiting them like water flowing through cracks in stone. The fight is not one-sided. Frieza is still immensely powerful and fighting with the desperation of a tyrant watching his supremacy crumble. He brings everything: death beams, negation fields, physical combat at blistering speed, and psychological warfare aimed at the cracks in Goku's armor. "I'll kill your friends," he hisses between exchanges. "All of them. Every Saiyan. Every mortal who ever looked at you with hope. I'll burn them all and make you watch." But Goku does not waver. The psychological attacks that once found purchase bounce off a mind that has found its foundation. "You can't scare me with loss," Goku says, blocking a death beam with his palm. "I've already lost, and I'm still here." On the ground, the Angel confrontation is quieter but no less devastating. Whis and Vados do not physically fight. Angels engaging in direct combat would crack reality itself. They duel through authority, competing angelic techniques that manipulate space-time, probability, and key fields. Whis works to undo Vados' battlefield interference. Vados works to maintain it. It is a chess match played at the speed of thought, invisible to mortal eyes but felt by everyone on the planet as fluctuations in gravity, light, and the flow of ki. The real battle between the siblings is verbal. Whis confronts Vados with the reality wound. "You opened a wound. You let the eclipsed peek through. Do you understand what you've done?" Vados is unrepentant. "I understand perfectly. The seal is failing regardless. I'm simply accelerating the inevitable so that we can prepare rather than be surprised." Whis presses. "By allying with a mortal tyrant? By destabilizing the hierarchy that holds reality together." Vados' voice carries the force of total conviction. "The hierarchy is a cage, Whis, and you know it. You've watched Goku outgrow it. You've watched Father struggle to contain something that should be set free. The future isn't angels and mortals in separate boxes. It's fusion. It's what Goku is, mortal and divine, together. I'm just trying to make the universe catch up." Whis' response is quiet, but devastating. "At the cost of how many lives?" Vados falters, just for a moment, because she does not have a good answer. Her ideology is grand, her vision sweeping, but she has never counted the bodies. She has never stood over a grave. She has never held a dying mortal and felt the weight of what collateral damage actually means. "You've never loved one of them," Whis says. "That's why you can use them as pieces. I love one. Father loves one. And that changes everything." In the sky, the battle between Goku and Frieza reaches its peak. Frieza, cornered and running out of options, activates a last resort, a condensed void sphere. Every ounce of his negation energy compressed into a singularity the size of a fist. It hums with the power to erase a continent, and he throws it not at Goku, but at the settlement below, at the civilians. Because if Goku is who he claims to be, he cannot let them die. He will have to catch it, and catching a void singularity means taking the negation directly into his body. Goku catches it. Of course he does. His hands close around the sphere, and the negation tears into his Super Saiyan. Void energy fighting gold-silver energy inside his own body. It is agony beyond description. His transformation flickers wildly, the gold-silver light warring with encroaching darkness. But it holds, because Goku does not hold it alone. The voices of everyone he carries, every connection, every choice, every time someone told him don't waste it, they hold it with him. He compresses the singularity, crushes it between his palms, absorbs the void energy, and converts it through his dual key system. Mortal fire burning the negation, divine stillness containing the detonation. The void singularity explodes inside Goku's body, and he channels the blast upward, through himself, out through his raised hand, into the sky. A pillar of gold, silver, void energy tears through the atmosphere and into the vacuum of space. Frieza stares, his ultimate weapon, caught, absorbed, redirected, turned into a light show that illuminates the planet's sky in gold and silver. He has nothing left. The turning point comes from the last person anyone expects, Jiren. He has been observing both battles since they began, analyzing, calculating, judging, and he has reached a conclusion, not about Goku's worthiness, but about the situation as a whole. Vados is manipulating reality. Frieza is targeting civilians. The Eclipsed are pressing against the seal. This is not a contest of strength. It is a contest of character. And Jiren, for all his belief in solitary power, recognizes that what he is watching is not weakness. It is a group of broken, mismatched, imperfect people choosing to protect something bigger than themselves. He cannot name what that means, but it means something. Jiren acts. He does not join Goku's fight. That is Goku's to finish. He addresses Vados directly. His ki erupts, the full, unrestrained power of Universe XI's strongest mortal, focused into a single command. Angel, withdraw. The pressure is staggering. Vados, for all her divine power, recognizes that Jiren at full output could threaten her if she is distracted by the simultaneous confrontation with Whis. Not defeat her, but create enough chaos to shatter the delicate balance of her space-time manipulations. This is not your conflict, mortal, she says. Jiren is unmoved. You made it my conflict when you tore a hole in reality. The anomaly, he glances at Goku, still burning gold in the sky, is the universe's concern. But the wound is everyone's concern, and you opened it. That makes you the greater threat. Vados faces a two-front divine confrontation, Whis from the angel side, Jiren from the mortal side. She calculates the odds with angelic precision. She withdraws, not defeated, but outmaneuvered. This isn't over, she says. The hierarchy will fall, with or without my intervention. She vanishes. With Vados gone, Frieza is alone. No angel support, no fleet. Vegeta and the others have driven them back. No void singularity, just Frieza, broken, bleeding, his void form cracking and flickering, facing a sustained Super Saiyan who has just absorbed his best attack and turned it into a beacon. Goku descends to Frieza's level. It's over. Frieza's pride will not let him accept it. It's never over. I am Lord Frieza. I am the Emperor of... Goku cuts him off with words that carry the weight of everything the Saiyans have survived. You're a scared man who destroyed an entire race because you were afraid of this. Golden light radiates from every cell of his body. And you were right to be afraid. But not because I want to hurt you. Because the universe you built, the empire of fear, is ending. Not today maybe, not tomorrow, but it's ending. Because Saiyans don't die when you kill them. We come back. We always come back. Frieza retreats, broken. Not dead, because death must carry weight in this story, and killing Frieza now would cheapen the reckoning still to come. But today, he runs, for the second time. And this time, every surviving soldier in his fleet, and every Saiyan on the ground, sees it. The Emperor of the universe, running from the people he tried to erase. The aftermath is quiet. The planet is damaged but alive. The civilians are safe. The reality wound is sealed. The fleet is gone. Frieza is gone. Vados is gone. The group gathers in the wreckage, all of them. Goku, his Super Saiyan fading now that the crisis is past. Vegeta, battered and barely standing, but with Sovereign reigniting weakly around him like embers that refuse to die. Caulifla, exhausted and grinning through blood. Kale, terrified of what she became but standing upright and refusing to hide from it. Broly, confused but calm for the first time anyone has seen. Whis, shaken but resolute. And Jiren, apart from the group but present. Present, not gone, not leaving. Present. Goku looks at them. His SSJ drops as the adrenaline fades and the exhaustion hits. He stumbles, and Caulifla catches him. Her arm slides around his waist, steadying him, and his arm goes over her shoulder. They do not speak. They do not need to. Vegeta sees it and looks away. Not from jealousy, not from scorn, from privacy. The first respectful thing Vegeta has ever done regarding someone else's emotions. Jiren watches. His face is unreadable, but he does not leave. Whis stands apart from the group, looking at the sky where the reality wound was. His expression carries the weight of everything Daishinkan told him, everything Vados represents, everything the eclipsed promise. The endgame is not coming. It is here. It has been here. And the only people who can face it are the broken, magnificent, impossible people standing behind him. Well, he says softly, I suppose we'd better get to work. 1 month later, the planet has been rebuilt. The Resistance has formally established a base of operations. Word of Frieza's second defeat has spread across Universe 7 like wildfire. And for the first time in living memory, the name Saiyan does not inspire fear. It inspires hope. And at the center of it all, 5 Saiyans and their allies are trying to figure out what comes next. Goku and Caulifla spar at dawn. It has become their ritual. The sparring is closer now, physically and emotionally, than it was when she first shot him in the face. Caulifla has improved dramatically over the course of the season, developing her own style that blends Universe VI Saiyan instinct with fragments of the techniques she has absorbed from watching Goku, Vegeta, and even Jiren. After the spar, they sit together on a hilltop. Caulifla tells Goku about Universe VI, her crew, her world, the Saiyans she left behind. It is the most she has ever shared about herself with anyone who is not Kale. Goku tells her about the palace, the golden floors, the silence, the loneliness that no amount of divine power could fill. They are trading vulnerabilities, not because they are ready for romance, because they are ready for honesty. When this is over, Caulifla says, staring at the horizon, Whatever this is, I want to show you my universe. Goku looks at her. I'd like that. Vegeta and Jiren share an unexpected moment. The two most solitary figures in the group find each other at the edge of camp. Jiren asks about Vegeta's transformation, the sovereign form. You achieved power through self-mastery, he observes, not through bonds. Vegeta considers. I achieved power through surviving. The mastery came after. Jiren presses. And the bonds? With the other Saiyans? With him? He means Goku. Vegeta takes his time answering. I didn't choose them. They happened, and I've stopped fighting it. Jiren's response is immediate. That sounds like weakness. Vegeta meets his eyes. It sounds like growth, which I suspect is why you're still here. Jiren has no response, but he does not leave. Kale and Broly train together under Whis' patient supervision. Kale is learning to access Berserker form consciously, in small, controlled bursts. A few seconds at a time, green energy flickering around her like emerald lightning. Broly is learning basic ki control through the simplified breathing exercises Goku taught him. They do not speak much. Broly still uses limited language, and Kale is shy. But they understand each other with a depth that words cannot reach. Two people terrified of their own strength, slowly learning it does not have to be a curse. Today, Broly says a new word. He points at Kale. Safe. He says it firmly, meaning, I feel safe near you. Kale presses a hand over her mouth and almost cries. Alone that night, Whis composes a message to Vados. He writes it carefully, choosing every word with centuries of practiced precision. It reads, You're wrong about the method, but you might not be wrong about the question, and I'm afraid that makes you the most dangerous person in the universe, including me. He stares at the words for a long time. Then, he deletes the message. He does not send it, but the truth of it lingers in the air. Goku communicates with Daishinkan through the pendant. The conversation is brief, strained, weighted with everything the Grand Minister knows and cannot say. Daishinkan asks about Goku's health, about the Super Saiyan mastery, about the group. Normal parental questions, the kind any father might ask a child he has not seen in too long. Goku answers warmly. He does not know what Daishinkan is hiding. He does not know about Protocol Anchor. He does not know that his father has stared at a file that would require his son to cease existing as an individual to save the multiverse, and wept. Are you happy, Goku? Daishinkan asks. Goku pauses. He looks around, at his friends, his rivals, his not-yet lover, his found family gathered on a rebuilt world under stars that are, for one fragile moment, peaceful. Yeah, father, he says. I think I actually am. Daishinkan's smile is the saddest thing in the series. Good, he says. That's all I ever wanted. The pendant dims. Goku stands before the group in the golden hour of sunset. He does not make a grand declaration or deliver a formal speech. He is honest, the way he has learned to be. I didn't ask for any of this, he says. The power, the prophecy, the enemies. I just wanted to know who I was, and now I do. He looks at each of them. I'm Saiyan. I'm divine trained. Bardock gave me his blood. Daishinkan gave me his hand when I had nothing else. Raditz showed me what it meant to be a Saiyan. Whis showed me what it meant to be a brother every single day. His voice steadies. I'm Vegeta's rival and Caulifla's... He pauses. Whatever we are. She snorts. He grins. But most of all, I'm standing here because of you. All of you. And whatever's coming. And there is something coming. Something big. We face it together. Or not at all. Vegeta folds his arms. Inspiring speech. Almost made me feel something. Caulifla elbows him. He definitely felt something. Kale's voice is soft. I felt something. Broly speaks. Together. He says it firmly, with more conviction than any word he has ever spoken. And Jiren, solitary, silent, watching from the edge, says nothing, but he nods, once. The group walks together toward the setting sun, not in formation, not in heroic poses, just together, tails swaying, key signatures mingling in the evening air, gold, silver, red, violet, green, blue, a spectrum of broken people, an impossible power, held together by the most fragile and the most indestructible force in the universe, the choice to stand beside someone. But the story does not end there. In the Grand Minister's palace, in the highest chamber of creation, Daishinkan stands alone before a holographic model of the multiverse. 12 reality wounds glow red across the map. They are pulsing in unison now, synchronized by Vados' interference, beating like a single enormous heart. The seal is weakening faster than any projection anticipated. Daishinkan's calculations render a timeline. At the current rate of deterioration, the seal between reality and the void fails in not centuries, not decades, years, a handful of years. He turns to an image captured by the key sensors. Goku, golden, silver, standing among his people. His tail wrapped around the hand of the girl from Universe VI. His son, happy, for the first time, truly happy. "You are running out of time, my son," Daishinkan whispers. "And so am I." He opens a sealed file, the oldest file in the angelic archives, the protocol for the universal threat, the original purpose of the divine blood concept, the plan he made before he loved Goku, before love was even a variable in his calculations, the plan he now prays with every fiber of his divine being that he will never have to use. The file title, Protocol Anchor. Below it, a single clinical line of text. The vessel must willingly merge their dual key signature with the universal seal, becoming the living boundary between reality and the void. This process is irreversible. The vessel will cease to exist as an individual entity. Daishinkan stares at the words. His hand trembles. A tear falls. It strikes the screen and rolls down the cold text of the protocol. Not him, Daishinkan whispers. Anyone but him. Why did the Grand Minister keep him? Not for prophecy, not for war. Because the silence was killing him. Because impossible things are the only things worth protecting. But there was always a price. A seal is cracking. Something from before gods, before names, before light is pressing through. And when it looked at Goku, it reached for him. His father can't say the words. His brother won't stop searching for another way. A prince refuses to watch another Saiyan be traded. And the woman who chose him, who crossed a universe, who built her own door, who refused every ceiling the cosmos ever made, she's not losing him. Not to a seal, not to a god, not to anything. Dragon Ball Divine Blood will return with Chapter 5 soon.